Okay, so what we're going to be working on today is finding the focus and the directrix of an equation that is in vertex form. So let's go over what we've been working on. It says write the equation in vertex form of a parabola given the focus, which is -4, 5, and the directrix, which is y is equal to -3. So let's remember the equation of a parabola in vertex form is x minus h squared is equal to 4p times y minus k. So let's draw a picture. So I have -4, 5. Okay, so there is my focus. And my directrix is -3. I'll draw that in there. So remember, now I want to find the distance from here to here so that I can find the vertex. Remember, the vertex is midway between the focus and the directrix. So this is a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would be half of 8, which is 4. So let's count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there would be my vertex, which is -4, 1. So let's write that down over here. Vertex is -4, 1. Let's plug that in. We have x plus 4 squared is equal to 4p times y minus 1. All right, so now I should determine my concavity. Is it concave up or concave down? My parabola should hug my focus. So here is my vertex. In order to hug the focus, my parabola has to open upward. So this would be concave up. Now what I would like to do is find my p-value. Remember, p is the distance from the vertex to the focus. Since it is moving up, vertex to focus, that means it's going to be positive, and that is a total of, count up, 4. So p is equal to +4. So let's write that down. P is equal to 4. Let's plug it in. X plus 4 squared is equal to 4 times 4 times y minus 1. And now we'll just clean this up right in here. 4 times 4. So that's x plus 4 squared is equal to 16 times y minus 1. So now what we're going to work on is this. We're going to go in the opposite direction. We're going to go backwards. I'm going to give you the equation, and we need to come up with the focus and the directrix. So what you just need to remember, the most important thing, is that the focus is moving from vertex to focus in that direction. Okay, so let's take a look at this. It says, given the equation of a parabola, that's this right here, that is in vertex form, find the focus and the directrix. So we are actually working backwards. All right, so it says find the focus and directrix of the given equation. So step 1 is to find the vertex. All right, so right underneath the equation, let's write down what our vertex is. I'm just going to use V for vertex. My vertex is 5, -2. Now we want to find the value of P, so that's step 2. So remember, this here, this 8, that is 4p, that value. So we actually have 4p is equal to 8. Therefore, p is equal to 2 when I divide both sides by 4. All right, the next thing we're going to do, step 2, is to draw step 3, sorry, is to draw a picture. All right, so I have 5, -2 is my vertex. 3, 4, 5, and -2. -1, -2. So plot that point, put a little V there for vertex. And now remember, my p-value, okay, is a +2, so that means it's up 2. So now let's plot the focus according to that p-value. So that would be step 4. So that would be plot focus according to P. So we're going to count up 2. So I'm here. I'm going to count up 2. 1, 2. So I'm right on the x-axis. And let's label that F for focus. And that point is actually 5, 0. So now let's determine if it's concave up or concave down so we know which way our directrix needs to be, whether it needs to be up or down. So that would be step 5, determine if concave up or down. Okay, so remember, my parabola has to hug the focus. So from my vertex, that means it has to open. So from my vertex, it has to open up here like this. So it's hugging the focus. Okay, so now I need to find my directrix. So remember, my vertex is in between the focus and the directrix. So if my focus is up here, my directrix has to be down here. And remember, the vertex is right in between the focus and the directrix. So if this was 2 units this way, then my directrix has to be 2 units down. So step 6, let's write using P, going in the opposite direction, that's opposite. You might want to write the word opposite. Direction. Okay, I'm going to squeeze that in there. Find the directrix. And make sure when you're done, you do have it as y is equal to some number. All right, so my P, which was 2, and that was up 2 for the focus, now I actually have to go down 2. So I'm going to need 2 more slashes down here. That'll actually put me at -4. So therefore, my directrix, which is down 2, is going to go right through y is equal to -4. So let's just write our final answer here. So I have my focus is 5, -2, and my directrix is y is equal to -4. Oh, and I also forgot to write that this is concave up. Even though I said it, I forgot to write it. Okay, so let's take a look at problem number 2. And remember, the first thing we're going to do is identify the vertex. So my vertex is -9, -5. And now I want to find P. Remember, this number here is 4P. So 4P is equal to -20. So P is equal to -5. And notice that P is negative, so that means from my vertex to my focus, we'll actually be moving down. All right, so now let's draw a picture. Now notice my vertex is -5, -9, -5. And I'll be moving down 5. So I am going to draw my picture all the way over here on the right-hand side because I need to go all the way out to the left side to -9, and I have to go pretty far down to -5. All right, so let's do this right here. And we have -9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's -9, and 1, 2, 3, 4, -5. So let's plot the vertex directrix, which is right here. And let's put a V next to that. All right, so now my P is -5, and remember that is the distance from my vertex to my focus, and since it's negative, that means it's going to go down. So I have to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which puts me at -10. So let's plot that point. So this is my focus, which is -9, -10. Now let's determine the concavity. So remember, my parabola has to hug the focus. So since my whole focus is below the vertex, it's going to be concave down. So let's write that, concave down. All right. Okay, so now we need to find the directrix. So remember that the vertex is in between the focus and the directrix. So if the focus is down here below the vertex, that means my directrix has to be up here. And if the vertex is right in the middle and the distance from here to here is 5, then the distance from my vertex to my directrix also has to be 5. But in this case, it has to go up 5. So we're going to count up 5. So if I'm here at -5, I have to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which actually puts me on the x-axis. That's my going to be where my directrix is, which is actually on the x-axis. And that equation for the directrix is y is equal to 0. So now let's just finish this up and write all of our information down. So the focus is -9, -5, -9, -10, sorry. And the directrix is y is equal to 0. Okay, so let's take a look at problem number 3. And let's start with the vertex. The vertex is 5, -2. And now we need to find what my p-value is. Now notice there's no number written in front of the parentheses, so that means that number here is 1. So that's 4p. So 4p is equal to 1. So divide both sides by 4, we get p is equal to 1/4. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more trickier because of the fraction. So you want to make sure you do give yourself enough room. So since it is 1/4 positive, from the vertex to my focus will be up 1/4. All right, so let's draw a picture. I'm going to make sure I have give myself plenty of room here. It's going to be tight. Okay, so x, y. All right, so I have +5. That's +5. And I'm going to go down 2, but I'm going to make them pretty far apart because our movement is only 1/4. So that'll be -1. And I'll put -2 here. So let me plot my vertex, which is 5, -2. Put a V there for vertex. All right, so now let's plot the focus, which is going to be up 1/4. So I'm only going up by 1/4 here. Only up 1/4. So if I'm at -2 and I'm going up 1/4, that's going to put me at -1.75. Okay, so this is my focus at 5, -1.75. Now let's figure out if it's concave up or concave down. Remember, my parabola has to hug the focus, so it will go up this way. So that would be concave up. Let's write that down. Now let's find the directrix. Remember that the vertex is right in between the focus and the directrix. So if the focus is above the vertex, then my directrix has to be down here. If I only moved up 1/4 to my focus, I only have to move down 1/4 to my directrix. So let me put -3 down here. Actually, let me give myself more room. Okay, so this is -3 down here. So if I'm moving down a quarter to my directrix, then that is going to put me at -2.25 right here. And that's my directrix. Y is equal to -2.25. Now let's just write that up. Focus is 5, comma, -1.75. Squeeze that in there. And the directrix is Y is equal to -2.25. Okay, so that's it for the lesson. Have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow in class for some practice.